Welcome back to the YS Idea Lab. My name is Josh from DownloadYouthMinistry.com. We're here at YS Nashville with my friend Terry. Terry Linhart, how are you?
I'm doing well, Josh, thanks.
Awesome. Well, hey, for people who don't know who you are, although the thunderous applause says otherwise.
I can hear that, yeah.
Tell everybody who you are, what you do.
Well, I teach at Bethel College in South Bend, Indiana area near Notre Dame, and so it's exciting.
And you brought your own cheering section
we have a cheering
with
section
you.
here in the front row.
That's
and,
great.
We have a good youth ministry program there, and so it's fun to be at YS here with them.
That's awesome. Well, we're glad to have you here. Now, in this YS Idea Lab, you're going to talk about 4 ways to spark creativity in your youth ministry. Is that right?
Well, spark our leadership, actually,
Okay.
because I've been fascinated lately with looking at people in ministry, because I work with a lot of leaders like you do,
Yeah.
and what separates some from others. What are some that are doing that are better than others? And I've just developed some patterns over time that I think, those things seem to be consistent in the people that do youth
So
ministry
you have
well.
conversations with youth workers all the time, and what you're looking for is some trends, and you found some things that are clearly that are clearly take the leadership to the next
Do you work
level.
on cars? Do you like getting in the engine at all?
No.
I don't either. So
No.
anyway,
I pay a
I'm going to
mechanic.
use it as an analogy, because I assume that when I talk about these, I assume that the oil's already changed in our engine, that we're right with Christ, our prayer life's strong, we're taking care of ourselves, exercising, eating, all
So
that.
the basic maintenance is already done.
Yeah. So if those aren't in place, you can change your spark plugs, and the engine's still not going to go.
Yeah, so there's no oil in the engine. There's no, if
Right.
your spiritual life, your personal life isn't refueled, you're in trouble.
That's right.
Okay, I'm
yeah,
with
so
you.
these are things that add on to that. And so I'm just going to say they're like spark plugs, And they're
All
things
right.
I think that if you started to do now, that's why they're an idea. And they're not complicated. They're not things we haven't heard before. But if you do them now in a week or so, that you'll feel better, you'll be revitalized, the engine's rolling better.
Very
That's
cool.
my analogy one more time.
All right, this analogy is totally working for
Thank you. So the
All right,
first one is simply,
yeah.
I just think weeks where even now, where I feel like I'm wasting my time, spinning my tires, stuck, is time management. I'll get a sheet of paper out, put all the hours and just track my time.
Yeah.
At the end of the week, I look back and I say, okay, in categories, how much time was I spending at this, this, and this? And you'll find that if you do that, you start to go, wow, I'm off track because I'm overspending time here and not doing the right things.
Very good.
Yeah.
So what is there like a practical tool that you'd recommend to help measure your time? Is it literally a paper and pen?
It is. It's an Excel file, and I just have start whenever you start, whatever hour of the day that is.
Yeah, 10:30.
Yeah, okay, 10, yeah, that's right. And then all the way till the time, and then every half hour I stop and I just write it down. And generally by the third day, I think, okay, I'm wasting all that time. And the creeper, of course, is social media. That just sneaks in, and suddenly you're spending more time on things and not doing it on the important things. And when we're off track, we're sometimes misspending our time. And the good people, going back to that, are the ones who know exactly how they spend their time.
Yeah.
And so email doesn't dominate them. Meetings don't dominate them.
Is there like just one tip or trick that's related to this? Like, how does a youth worker out there go, okay, I want to analyze my time, I want to save time, I want to make every minute count.
Sure.
What's one way that you're like, this is a deal, this is game changer?
2 variations of the same tip, okay? You can either do 90 minutes or 25 minutes where you sit and you work on something uninterrupted, and then you take a break. If it's 25, you take a 5-minute break. If it's 90 minutes, take a 90-minute break if you do work for 90 minutes. We work in those increments anyway. And when we try to go fast, or we let things interrupt, or we're checking email or taking phone calls, we're unproductive.
Or if you go past that 90 minutes, you're eventually losing productivity
exactly
as well.
right.
Okay, good. Time management. I agree with that one so much, because as I talk to youth workers, even here at YS, the convention, I hear about it all the time. How do you get so much done in a day? You're probably losing time at different places.
Yeah, and the surprising thing, and you're one of those people, that really excellent people actually have things they can do on the side because they watch their time so well.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
Thank you for the compliment, too. What's number 2?
Yeah, I'm good at that. Hey, second thing is when you're doing ministry, small groups, events, teaching aim, or large events, have a clear teaching aim. I tease the punchline. Yeah, have a clear teaching aim. Write out this sentence: as a result of this, and whatever it is, students will blank. And if you have a clear target, at the end of the night, you know I hit the target. And you measure it by if students are doing what your target is. Not often we say, well, tonight I'm going to present this. Well, that's not a really good teaching aim, because learning may not have happened. But if you put it in the student sentence, it makes sense. So as a result of this, students will blank.
It's funny. I early on in youth ministry was planning an overnighter, like this awesome, epic roller skating, hockey game, all amazing. And I realized that I didn't even have a speaker booked for that event. By the time we got there, I was like, oh, I think I might not know the exact purpose of this event. I don't know what my teaching aim is. I don't know what I'm doing. I should not be in youth ministry. But I somehow made it. So that's a happy ending to that story. But I love it. Have a clear, identifiable goal.
And what I found is that people who are excellent know exactly what they're doing and why.
That's great. Very good. What's number 3?
Okay, 3. This one's revolutionary. It's going to shock people out there.
Okay. Hold on to your hats.
Go spend time with kids. Sometimes when we're not feeling well in ministry, we're feeling sorry for ourselves, and we're stuck, we're at home or wallowing, or we're working in the office or something. And I remember I can tell the story to this day where I just felt like I don't feel like going to the school. And my wife said, just go. And once you get there, you have a great time. And it was life-changing. I met a girl that eventually gave her life to Christ. Awesome. It was unbelievable. And it revitalized. Yeah. And it was just like an instant spark for my ministry that I was actually spending time with kids again.
So even if you find yourself being more administrative, or you start doing more planning, or you're trapped in an Excel spreadsheet, get out and spend time with the people that you're ministering to rather than with your laptop screen.
Sure. Yeah.
That's a really good point.
Well, the reason is that you remember why it is in the first place you got into this thing.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm spending time with my 9th grade guys, I go, that's why I'm doing it. Even with the frustration, I go, that's it.
That's good. Well, and I've noticed, too, that as your ministry grows, your time with students, your actual touch time in a student's life decreases. And that freaked me out initially because I was like, I'm spending a lot of time with adults and planning and writing, and I'm not spending as much time with students. So I'm totally relating to you there going,
go to a sports event, meet as many kids, you'll feel better.
Yeah, go to a 6th grade girls basketball game in the second half because you don't want to stay that long. All right, what's the last one? Give us number 4.
This is one that I found that separates people from others is that they read widely. And it seems odd. We're not natural readers, most of us. But if you discipline yourself to read wider than just to have your Pandora station like, I only read the things that are from my discipline and only that I care about, whatever. But to go through the story even here at YS and to say, what are some books that will stretch me, wider, maybe globally, culturally, that kind of thing.
So rather than just reading Christian or youth ministry, or you're saying even go outside of the discipline.
A little bit. Have a purpose to the reading and discipline, and create a stack of books from, good, reputable publishers. It could be all Christian books, that's fine. Yeah. But just push yourself theologically, learn and grow, rather than to stay in this area. And I picked up a book, old father's book last week, rewritten for today. Shane Klingberg did the opening to it.
Awesome.
And it's been a spark in my life going, in a new way, there's a freshness again.
Yeah.
And the people that I rub shoulders with that I say they're doing differently, they just seem to know a lot about a lot.
That's
and
cool.
It's because they've read.
Would you, just as an aside, would you read people that you outright disagree with, where you're like, I'm not sure I agree with their theological position or their church's belief or whatever, or would you kind of stay at least in the family of what you...
That's a great question. And I think there's ways you could look at it. There's a range probably to which I'm comfortable doing that, but I do want people to stretch me, and so that'll do it. If someone's just writing things I think that are blatantly wrong, or heretical, then I'm not going to read that necessarily. But on the other hand, coming from a liberal arts college, which Bethel is, I do think we need to read those so we know what's going on, to not just live in... So, for instance, like faith and science right now is a big area. Yeah. Apologetics, we need to know. Outreach, evangelism, all that stuff.
It's interesting. I even I read youth ministry books almost all the time, but I sometimes like getting way outside of youth ministry. I like writing or reading a biography, like I read Steve Jobs' biography. It was so fascinating on how not to be a good leader and how to be a good leader as well. But that challenge, a biography, I was like, this is great.
Well, and that's great you brought that up, because the people that I think are upper tier people read biographies of leaders all the time. George Washington,
you
all
heard
that
it.
stuff.
Upper
and
tier.
You, young man.
Very good. Well, tell us the last great book that you read. Make one last recommendation, then we got to wrap it up.
Well, it's Athanasius' book, The Life of St. Anthony of Egypt. I mean, it was fantastic, and it's an IVP book. It's in a fresh way. It's modern English, and it's really narrow, too. That's the best part about this. You can read smaller books and go, I read that.
Those are the only books I read.
I know.
4 ways to spark your leadership. Terry Linhart. I'm Josh Griffin. This has been the YS Idea Lab. Bye.